Well, Canes fans, that was close. Friday's game against Virginia Tech came down to a ruling by the ACC Review Center, which decided that there was no clear evidence of a catch on a Hail Mary pass by the Virginia Tech Hokies on the last play of the game at Hard Rock Stadium. So Miami escaped with a victory and its undefeated record intact while still searching for ways to get better so that the next time that an opponent rises up, and it will happen again this year, as we've been talking about on this show since day one. And it could even happen as soon as Saturday night when the Canes go to Cal, that the Hurricanes will be better equipped to fight off that challenge. Better equipped. What does that mean? Well, I think it means that it begins with establishing a running game. They got to develop a running game. They've become a little bit too one-dimensional here. And yeah, it's a celebration. They're the number one and number two passing team in the country by any measurement. Cam Ward having a phenomenal season. But you saw Friday night what happens when Cam Ward makes a couple mistakes and you have a couple things go against you on defense in the form of a few injuries and things like that. And now all of a sudden you're losing multiple times in the game and you're surviving a Hail Mary pass at the end. 3 turnovers. Usually that many critical mistakes cost you a ball game. But Miami survived by making big plays in the second half and winning that razor-thin replay decision at the end of the game. That doesn't mean that there's not a bunch of things to clean up on defense too, where there were 17 missed tackles on Friday night. And there was a significant drop-off, I thought, in the production of the defensive line in that game, which was weathering several minor injury issues. Also appeared to me to be struggling with the heat from the humidity from the hurricane that passed through earlier. It was a very hot night at Hard Rock, a lot of cramping, a lot of guys, what looked to me like phantom injuries on the Virginia Tech side, just buying time to catch their breath. It was exceptionally hot out there on Friday, no doubt about it. And I expected that to be a huge home field advantage for the Hurricanes. I'm not sure that ever materialized. On an interesting note, defensive coordinator Lance Guidry told us this week that if he had to do it all over again at the end of the game, that he would once again choose to go with a prevent defense because Miami wasn't getting to the quarterback during the course of the game. And I was really shocked by that because that just goes so against the grain of who Lance Guidry is. Lance Guidry is about pressure and creating unique blitzing schemes and harassing other quarterbacks into mistakes, not a 3-man rush. And I was kind of surprised that they went to that at the end of the game, and then it almost bit them in the you-know-what, man. So I hope that maybe Guidry will reconsider that before Miami gets in that situation again. The prevent defense, the Hail Mary defense at the end of the game were certainly life or death, but that's more a byproduct of Miami having smaller DBs. And they even put Isaiah Horton out there to be the guy that jumps up and knocks the ball down. But the problem they ran into was he was being butt blocked by some of the Virginia Tech receivers and didn't really get a chance to execute that to the max of his ability. But there's so much on the plate tonight, so much for us to talk to as we embark on a new edition of CaneSport Live. And hello again, everybody. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com. We welcome you once again to the People's Show, CaneSport Live. As always, it's your show. It will be driven by your participation. If you would like to come on the show, I'm going to pop it up on the screen right now. If you have not pre-registered with us, all you have to do, email us right now at CaneSport@yahoo.com, CaneSport@yahoo.com, and we will send you all the information you need to get into the studio and come on the show. Matt Shodell will once again be joining me tonight. We'll also hear from the voice of the fan, Bruce Warner. So much to talk about. Not sure how late the show is going to go tonight because I know a lot of people really want to watch the vice presidential debate. So that'll be a situation that we monitor as we move forward. But let me start off now by bringing in our managing editor, Matt Shodell. Matt, welcome back to CaneSport Live. I know you're like a fish out of water here in the evening instead of the early morning. But I know you're still loaded up with all kinds of opinions on what we saw Friday night. Give us a little synopsis.
Happy to be here.
I know you are.
You already said what am I supposed to say? You've talked about it on Good Morning CaneSport. You just talked about it for 5 minutes and 42 seconds. I got nothing to add. Bring the fans on. Let's let Greg berate me some more. That was fun last week.
I just try to set the table for you. No,
I can share my general thoughts from the game. Do people want that? I don't know. I mean, people watched with their own eyes. It wasn't really what it sort of gave me 2-decade vibes, right? Like vibes from the last 2 decades of these Miami teams that are just inconsistent week to week. But those teams for the last 2 decades found ways to lose those games, right? I mean, when you were watching that game, didn't you just have that sinking feeling as a fan that here we go again? I mean, wasn't that going through your head? And it didn't go again. It wasn't here we go again. They won, as Lance Guidry shouted at the media as he exited the podium yesterday afternoon. They won. So, undefeated. I don't know. I know the Cal betting line, if somebody says it's coming down from 14 to 10.5. So, that's not that encouraging, but 10.5. Miami should win this game. They should win every game. They'll be favored in every game, unless they stumble against somebody. But just enjoy the ride. People love to complain. I love to complain. It's fun to complain. It's fun to second guess. That's why we're fans. If everything was always right and they did everything perfectly, what's the point of us even being here? What are we doing? Just yes, we're yes men. No, we're not yes men. We get to share our opinions, and Miami did a lot of questionable things, from coaching-wise to personnel-wise to performance-wise. But at the end of the day, if they win, you should be happy as a Miami fan. I know a lot of people weren't happy, but I would disagree with that.
Well, I
think for 20 years.
I think there's a little deception going on, and we talked about it on this show pretty much every week. I mean, when Miami has been the best in college football, the best you could possibly be, there still were 3, 4, 5 games a year where they were life and death to win, or the game was in the balance in the fourth quarter. This is what competitive sports is. I mean, other teams have coaches making a lot of money. They're sitting there, in case of Virginia Tech, probably for 8 months, scheming up ways to give Miami schemes issues and problems. And they came and played a phenomenal game on Friday night. And all the credit to them. They pushed Miami to the last play of the game, and I'm sure it's sitting in Blacksburg now. They think they won it. So
that's something else I'll add. The difference in that game came down to maybe a referee phone call from the ACC. I don't know. But to take 7 minutes on a replay tells you there's more going on than them just looking at the 3 angles that they have and saying, oh, here's what I saw. Now, if that call had stood, which honestly, they made a bad call. It wasn't a catch. But once you make that call, I didn't see anything on the replay that didn't show him with the ball in his hands and a foot on the ground. And I didn't see anybody out of bounds with their feet on the ground and their hand on the ball. But that's what they said was the reason it wasn't a catch. Whatever. I mean, I tried to look at it a few times. Regardless of that, if they had not overturned that call, what would the conversation be now, Gary? It would be fans are saying Cristobal should be fired. Fans want Lance Guidry fired. They need to make changes in the depth chart. Because of one not overturned play, everything is somewhat okay, right? That's the juxtaposition of this all, because a lot of these games come down to one play. Like when you're not great, when you're just very, very good and you play badly against an average team, it comes down to one play. And if it went the wrong way, that one play went the wrong way, Hurricane Nation is out. They're done. We'd have no comments on the right side of my screen. Nobody would be reading our stories anymore. But because they overturned it after the ACC commissioners called the headline judge and said, we need to overturn this because Miami is the only team left in the ACC that even has a chance to be decent record-wise. So after that happened, I'm making that up, but after that happened, everything's fine, right? I mean, that's what's so crazy, because I still do think this team can go undefeated, even though they, easily could have lost that last game. Does that make me delusional? Does that make me not based in reality? Is this the parallel universe? I don't know, but that's just how I feel.
You're going to have games where you don't play your best. You're going to have games where Cam Ward makes a few bad decisions and turns the ball over, where things don't go your way, and where the other team rises up and plays a great game. And that's what we saw Friday night. I mean, it's going to happen. It will happen again for sure. And for the Hurricanes this week, it's all about keep getting better and, keep finding ways to improve. And we'll talk more about that. But first we got to go hear from our man, Kane, who I know is fired up about Friday night. Kane, welcome back to CaneSport Live. How you doing, my man?
Yeah. Hey, Gary. Hey, Matt. Just want to give a shout out to my man, Frank. He told me if I ain't give him a shout out, he was going to talk trash. Okay, I was at the game. Let's go with this. The curse has been reversed. Remember, the sun will rise on the 305. Everything is going sort of our way. Yeah, it was an ugly play. They shouldn't have called a damn touchdown. I don't know what they were thinking. Y'all don't know. Nobody knows. Because my man came out with the ball, but let me ask y'all something. If a player's out of bounds and he still caught that ball, wouldn't that still be considered incomplete?
Okay, so the receiver wasn't out of bounds. What they're saying is that. Okay, so if the receiver has possession of the ball up here and a foot down and you freeze that frame, in college football, that's a touchdown. Like that, you can't overturn it. If he literally has possession of the ball solidly in his hands and a foot on the ground, that's a touchdown in college. It's not a touchdown in the NFL, right? Touchdown in the NFL, you have to control it to the ground, right?
Right.
Not in college. That's why people are so confused. But what the NCAA, what the ACC ref said, they didn't say it wasn't a catch.
Right.
They seemed to indicate they thought it was a catch because he had his hands on the ball initially and a foot down. What they said is the reason is that either that foot was touching an out-of-bounds Miami player, or they're claiming Miami player had a hand on the ball while that player was out of bounds or something. It's really, you watch the replays, it's really hard to tell. To me, it's easier to say it wasn't complete because he never had control of it based on the replays.
That's what I would think.
That's not what they said. That's not what they said.
That's not what they said.
They said it was a catch, apparently, because their explanation to the media was
on the field said, yeah.
The explanation to the media from the ACC official response was not, he never controlled it. It was, a guy from out of bounds was touching the ball, which I just couldn't see.
But when you got the review system, even though they call it on the field, but that's why they have reviews like they did, and they changed it because it was the right call. Why does people make a big fuss about that? That's all I need to know.
Because why did it take 7 minutes?
Because they said, hell, let's go back to Georgia Tech. Yeah, we robbed Chaney. Chaney ass was down. Let's give him one. Damn them. Reverse the curse, baby. We are fine. And I'm like you, man, and Gary. People, please, we can complain about the defense look like shit. And we can complain about the running game. And we can complain that Cam did look like TBD. No offense. But them damn interceptions was in scoring position. They weren't pretty. But my 3 plays of the game, here's how I go. Restrepo's number 3. That was a hell of a catch. I don't know how he did it. The man going pro, we know that. Number 2, Cam shakes the guy, gets hits again, and gives it to Riley, and Riley sprints on down the road after he pushes the guy in the face. And number 1, I didn't see it until they replayed. When Arroyo came from the damn 5-yard line and sprinted from all the way there and tackled the guy, because if he didn't get there, he was going to score. Those are the plays of the game. That's why we are where we at. And plus the way Cam plays. I know it's a short night. The voting, whatever they got going on. I'm not going to hold it up.
Hey.
Like I said, I was there. I'll be there for Florida State. People, just stop complaining. Enjoy the ride. Yeah, we're going to improve. Things will get better. But damn, we 5-0. I don't give a damn who we play. You play who you play, and you do what you do. And we did what we had to do. So with that being said, y'all have a beautiful night. Not going to California. I'll get some rest. I get off at 8:30 from my job. I'll be there to watch it at home. Let's go. 305, ride or die. Peace out, y'all.
All right. Hey, by the way, I know he's leaving, but I'm not putting Restrepo at number 3 because he intentionally fell down just to be able to show he could make that catch, which is not okay. I'm putting number 3 as Borregales' 56-yard field goal because they don't win without that.
Forgot about that. And I forgot about that damn punt return that Chris Johnson did to ran it. And if he didn't get shoestring, it was a touchdown. But whatever be the case, y'all some great guys. Keep your show going in the morning. See y'all next week, and hopefully we'll knock off Cal. Thank you.
You're always going to need some good individual moments when you have to overcome everything Miami had overcome in that game, from the injuries to the turnovers and everything else. But tonight's show is presented, as always, by Caneswear, your ultimate authority for all your Miami Hurricanes merchandise. If you haven't been to Caneswear yet this season or haven't gone to caneswear.com, make sure that you do. They have everything that any Hurricane fan could possibly want. And I would highly recommend you get yourself a Cam Ward jersey here pretty soon, because I got to believe that they are going to sell out. But I'm talking T-shirts, jerseys, polos, hoodies, hats, flags, decals, magnets, everything that you could possibly want. If you're a Canes fan, they have at CanesWear with sizes for men, women, kids, babies. They will even dress up your pet. Yes, they will dress up your pet. If you're a Dolphins fan, poor you. Oh, my God. I'm trying to get rid of all my season tickets. What a nightmare. Panther season is starting up. Inter Miami soccer. Whatever you want, CanesWear will take care of you. So the store is at 2655 South University Drive in Davie. You can go there on your way to Hard Rock Stadium. It's 15 minutes north of Hard Rock. You can shop them at any time at CanesWear.com. So we'll talk a little bit more about them later in the show, but we thank CanesWear for being the presenting sponsor this season of the CaneSport live show. And it would help if I got the correct name up on the screen, which I will do right now. There we go. We thank CanesWear for sponsoring this year's show. All right, let's go out to let's go to Everything 305, audio only. What's up, Everything? Welcome back to CaneSport Live.
Guys, how we doing tonight?
What's up?
Doing great. How you doing, man?
Doing phenomenal. Hey, just a few quick things. I had a good breakfast on Sunday with a friend of mine who's a former ACC, SEC official, and he mentioned one thing and what they train and how they prepare officials today. They have an old rule, and it's if you're in the end zone on a catch, you don't see, it's when in doubt, you ring it up as a TD, because you do have the advantage now of going to make sure that they can check it on the replay. There is no time limit. There's never been a time limit. There'll never be a time limit on instant replay. That's not a conference rule in the country that has it, and there is no NC2A rule that has anything.
That's so backwards. That's ridiculous.
And that's the way it is, and it's for a reason. It's because with the inclusion of replay and its evolution and how much better it has gotten over the years, these guys have a crutch, and it's the reason why a lot of the old timers don't feel comfortable with what's going on today in the world of officiating. Nonetheless, it points out how weak the ACC is as a base for officials. The younger ones that do come in, they're not there very long. They're there for a short period of time. They go on to the SEC, and then a lot of them jump from there, not even ever being a head official, jumping to the NFL. Because the NFL has opened up so many positions based on its evolution of their official system. So there's a lot to take into account. But no, they got it right. It should have never been a situation that came down to that. And one thing that my friend pointed out was the play before. The guy barely had a foot out, and that was a questionable call. That would have, extended that play and given them better field position. So, you can go through every game and point out a bunch of things. Touchdown that was taken away had nothing to do with the play. You can go on and on and on and on. But there's one constant, and Matt, I think you'll agree to this. No matter what the situation is, it's been 4 decades now. Every and any time there is a question with regards to fairness or equity or whatever you want to put out there with the University of Miami, we will always be nationally hated for that situation. There will always be a negative bias towards Miami. That is never going to change. And you definitely saw that with our NBA team when LeBron came over. It's the rest of the country just has disdain for this community and area. I don't know why, but that's just the case.
You don't know what it is? We're annoying. Half of us are New Yorkers. The other half they think are from a different country. We're a mixed bag. We drive we pass people on the highway in the gutter lanes. What is there to like about us? Of course they hate us.
Matt, we could go ahead and pick apart every major municipality in this country. We really can. every major metro area. You can point out whatever you want. Let's not blame it on stuff that really isn't critical.
Well, that was tongue in cheek. But what I will tell you, by the way, what you were saying earlier, I actually am a proponent of doing away with instant replay. I find it so annoying. I actually enjoyed the days when they made a call, and that was the call. Like, you know what it was. That's the end of it. And you don't have to sit there for 7 minutes waiting. I know they got the call wrong, and they get calls wrong. But you know what? That's the debate over the water cooler. Like, today's generation of people, everything's got to be correct. God forbid somebody makes a mistake and does something. Like, we're teaching our entire generations now that, like, things happen the way they're supposed to, and you get rewarded for the work you put in. No, you don't. Sometimes you don't. It's not always everyone gets an award and everything's perfect and everyone gets what they want. Like, subjective is okay. Objective is okay. It doesn't have to always be like how it actually happened. It's storytelling. That's what sports is to me. I find it very annoying when they pause games constantly. I'm sick of these 4-hour games, quite honestly,
Matt, you're only supposed to drive me crazy in the morning, not at night. Okay, that's.
I'm sick. Do you enjoy watching a 4-hour game? Do they stop every 2 minutes?
You have the technology available to you. Would you have rather Miami lost that game the other night because they couldn't?
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? So that's the point, right? Because of one game. Because of one game.
How many times do you?
It's not about one game.
Those calls. And don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you when you were spewing that insane diatribe here a minute ago. Okay, like, how many calls do you see reverse because they miss it on the field and set it straight? And how would you like to be? Forget about all the fans that care and are as passionate as could be about every game. They're betting on the games, everything else. You have the technology to get it right. What's wrong with getting it right? Now, I agree it took too long. But they had to call Commissioner Phillips and the whole thing and make sure they were doing the right thing. No, I'm only kidding. But seriously, it's like you have the technology to get it right. You got to get it right.
Gary, you got to avoid Gary. You got to avoid a Cleveland Gary situation. Had we had instant replay, that's a touchdown at Notre Dame, and we probably have our 6th legitimate national championship.
Yeah,
it goes both ways. I'm nostalgic. That's all. It goes both ways.
Nostalgia. These guys need, especially in the ACC. These refs don't always distinguish themselves. Everything you talked about the protocol. Listen, I with all respects to your friend, and I get it if that's what they're told to do. But the call that should have been made on Friday night was incomplete. And then if they find that it was complete, overturn it that way. Doing it this way creates all kinds of controversy. It creates the appearance of a scandal, quite frankly. I mean, I'm riding down the elevator with these Virginia Tech dudes, and they're crying foul. Like they're like, oh, the ACC didn't want to let Miami lose because then they wouldn't be they would have been out of the championship race or the playoff race, and it would have hurt the ACC. So that's why they made the call. By saying that was a complete pass, the refs opened up everything for that type of mindset, and we saw it debated all over the country. And of course, when Miami's involved, I mean, we don't want to sound paranoid here, but when Miami's involved, they're always going to look at it from a negative vein anyway. So I thought the ref made the big mistake calling it complete. He should have called it incomplete.
Well, the last thing I'll share with that is it's such a hard call to make. And there's an extra, you go back 20 years ago, there's an extra official in that situation now. Okay? There's an extra official there with a better vantage point. So they had every potential angle, but they didn't see it. It was too hard to see. You're not always going to see. Those situations are a pain in the butt to deal with. And they've all explained that to me, what a jump ball really means is there's so much going on. And you could almost, and one person made the case, you could almost call defensive pass interference on half of them. I mean, you really can, but they can't. So
yeah, you're right.
There's a lot that's involved there detail-wise. The next thing I wanted to point out, because I know we're in a hurry tonight.
No, we're good.
I was looking at Cal, and I went through their game against Florida State. And Florida State isn't a juggernaut offensively by any stretch of the imagination. But I got to tell you, that second level of their defense, holy crap, those guys are good. They cover a lot of ground. They defend wide receivers. They're great against the run. This is a solid defensive team, and they take the ball away. The guys in the secondary, they're solid guys, but what I like more than anything is the impact that the middle of the defense is. Rarely do we see in contemporary college football how the middle line of your defense can make the front end and the back end better. And this is one of these cases. The guys up front are good, but guys in the middle they're just playmakers, and they're always around the ball. And they're sure tacklers, lots of tackles for loss. I don't know what scheme they're running defensively, but what I was able to interpret from what I saw is they're solid fundamentally, and they're smart. So this is going to be a great game on Saturday.
How did they beat Florida State? I didn't get a chance to watch the game. How did they lose the game to Florida State?
Well, they really couldn't do anything offensively. They couldn't sustain anything. And the quarterback, who's a Miami kid, he's not a very mobile kid. I think that was one of the biggest impacts that helped the Florida State defense is if they don't have to go against a mobile quarterback, they're not that bad. And it played right in their hands in terms of when you match up, because everything's about a matchup, right? They matched up in their favor, and I think that's what really stymied their run game and their passing game. No, they had their running back for that game. They did. I don't think he was 100%, but they got a decent offensive line, but they couldn't sustain anything in the passing game. And I think the one game that you look at, the kid from Northwestern who plays at Florida State, that's probably what's been his best game this year. But I'm telling you, this is going to be a great game. Heck, I wish I was able to get out there and watch it because I haven't been out there in ages.
On the road late at night, you got the travel factor, you got the home field factor for Cal, you got game day there. Their fans are going to be fired up. Let me tell you something. I said it at the beginning of the show. Miami needs to run the ball this week, and I'm tired of arguing about Damian Martinez and all this other nonsense and Mark Fletcher. I want to see those guys get a chance to ball this week and get the running game going without abandoning it and seeing what they can do. I mean, this should be a strength of this team, and I get it. They're throwing for all kinds of crazy yards, and Cam Ward for the Heisman is exciting and the whole thing. But they're going to need a running game this year, and I'd like to see it emerge on Saturday night. You agree, everything? You still there?
I think he does what I always want to do, which is ignore you and start going on, your phone and just going to different websites.
Well, what do you?
It sounds like he's ordering some food at a kiosk, which makes sense. That would be a lot more fun than talking to Gary Ferman.
I saw his audio clicking on and off. Everything. You still there? Well, he dropped it.
Why am I not allowed to do that? He's allowed to do that, and I can't. Well, what kind of rules are these? I want instant replay where I can leave whenever I want. I want a review. I want a review that I can leave now.
I don't think he did that on purpose, but no, I mean, seriously, I like you and I, we argue about Martinez and all this stuff and whatever, and it's all great, but I think they need to establish, they're going on the road. They're playing a good defense. Everything we were just talking about, how good their defensive backfield is. This is the perfect week to establish the run game, Matt.
We said this last week. Listen, Cam Ward is the show, right? What we talked about yesterday on Good Morning CaneSport is because Shannon Dawson was asked about it, and I asked Francis Mawanoa about it today. You need to have a run game at some point, right? Because you don't expect Cam Ward to have 350 yards, 5 touchdowns like he did this past week every single week without running into some problems. And yeah, Cal does have 10 interceptions, leads the country. But other than that, their offense doesn't scare you. They lost to FSU. As long as Miami's not turning the ball over, they're going to win this game easily. And they would have beat Virginia Tech fairly easily if they didn't turn the ball over. So the question is it easy to not turn the ball over? Well, if you run the ball a lot, yeah, because there's a less risk handing the ball off to guys that protect the ball and run with it than putting the ball in the air and maybe there's a blitzer you don't see coming from wherever, or you throw into traffic, you don't see the linebacker. You know how it is. I mean, that's just the way it is. Cam Ward single-handedly had 3 turnovers last game. He single-handedly had 46 fumbles the prior 4 years. those are just facts. So at some point, you do need to sort of leverage what's going on with him in a certain area of the game. Like if the other team's starting to get pressure, like Virginia Tech did, like, hey, now let's just, let's back him off by running the ball at him, real successfully, right? Because if the defensive players can't just pin their ears back, as the saying goes, and come after the quarterback because they have to respect the run, then Cam Ward maybe has a little more juice to get the ball down the field easier instead of what was happening this last game. Honestly, I would blame some of those 3 turnovers on the run game. I know nobody would do that because it makes no sense. But if Miami's running the ball successfully, he's not throwing the ball 80% of the game. Maybe one of those 2 interceptions isn't even a passing play, right? So at some point, it's really important they get the run game going. I don't think it's going to be this week. As a matter of fact, my concern, as bad as Jaden Ott's been, he's a guy who ran for, I think, 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns last year, one of the top returning running backs. He's been awful this year. He's averaging Damian Martinez-like numbers. That's how bad he's been. About 3.3 yards a carry. He's been awful. But he's been hurt. And now they have a bye week. So that's concerning to me, because he's a guy who is a bulldozer with speed. And Miami's run defense gave up a heck of a lot of yards to some guy named Tutankhamun last week, right? And I think that's like some dead Egyptian dude. So I don't know what's going to happen this weekend, but like my concern is Cal's run game, not their quarterback, not the Columbus guy, but their run game concerns me. And then just if Miami stays out of it, stays away from the turnovers. That's all. That's Cal's bread and butter on defense. You do those 2 things, Miami wins easily. Otherwise, it could be another Virginia Tech type of game,
I think Cam's audibling out of some running plays too. What, like, think about it. Like he's caught up in the whole thing. He called himself the best player in college football after the game on TV. He's caught up in a lot of this, and he's been putting up big numbers and obviously wants to continue doing that. And he's audibled out of some running plays. And if I know Mario wants to see this run game start producing much better. And I would think that the head coach is mandating that they feature the run, somewhere in the neighborhood of 50% of the time. You want 50-50 run balance, and you're going to need it later in the year when you hopefully are still unbeaten and in the ACC title race, and you're playing Clemson, or you get in the playoff and you got to play Texas, Georgia, Alabama, those kind of teams. You better be able to freaking pound it down the field at times. And, it's not going to come easy every single time you get the ball against the quality team. So they will need a running game. We'll see what happens this week. I understand that you don't want to predict it'll happen because we thought it would last week too, and it didn't. But I just have a feeling that they're going to try to establish the run a little bit better at Cal than they have so far this season. All right, we got Cane's Cat Heat 305, who has absolutely declared to me that he wants to be on the show this week with Matt. So here we go. Cane's Cat, welcome back to CaneSport Live. You got your Shodell. I delivered for you. What you got for us?
Gentlemen, I just have one question. It's honestly not football related, so I'm going to take up 1 minute of your time. Gary or Matt, are you both going to the Louisville game this week? Not this week, in a few weeks.
Gary's going. Me, questionable. Why?
Well, Matt, the same day there's the baseball scrimmage. I would hope that you can go to give us your coverage because I know you love
baseball. I keep telling you, I'm number 2 in baseball now. Azubi is the baseball guy. I keep telling you that on the chat.
We cover baseball.
I go to the availabilities. I talk to the coaches and players and stuff. But like Azubi's the baseball guy now. He's the guru.
We cover baseball, but that's not
he might also go to Louisville.
The pulse of the fan base is. They want football.
No, I know, but it's a big scrimmage. I mean, I'm debating on even going to the football game over the scrimmage because I really want to watch the baseball team.
Listen, you're preaching to the choir, man. I grew up playing baseball in high school, played in college for a year. I get it. I'm pretty knowledgeable about baseball, probably even more so than football, which anybody out there will tell you I know nothing about football, right? Zero, right? Ask any of the fans. They know I know nothing about football. But no, I am a baseball guy at my heart, no doubt about it. So I coach. I don't know if you were from down here, but I coached I coached a high school age baseball team at Howard Palmetto this past year just for fun, and my son always played travel ball. I coached him. So yeah, I'm big on baseball, but yeah, we're not here to talk about baseball, my friend. I'm sorry.
No, of course. Well, hopefully you can go to the scrimmage. That's all I had to ask. Thank you.
All right.
I can promise you that will not be on our agenda that day. That's the biggest game of the year. Where'd he go?
He's mad at you. There he is. And now you muted him.
That was my only question. No,
Okay.
that was my only question.
You're good. All right.
Man. Thank you for coming on the show.
Hey, by the way, let me tell you something. If only every Miami football fan was as passionate, and not that football fans aren't passionate, but these Miami baseball fans, like, they're a different level of passion, man. Like, there might be 50 of them, but they will light it up like there's 1,000 of them, and they're not negative. Like, they're always like, okay, next year we'll get them. It's always, it's not like they're not as disappointed, maybe because there's a lot more games, but they're not as disappointed about losses usually or seasons usually. And they're always optimistic. It's somewhat refreshing, and not that football fans aren't super passionate. Obviously, Miami Hurricanes football fans are super passionate. But, like in the newspaper industry, how they say, like, when one person complains, treat it like 100 complaints because the other 99 don't bother to complain. Like, that's your Miami baseball fans, right? Every single one of them is that 99. They're all loud and boisterous, and, and I love it. Good for him coming onto a football week podcast to say there's a scrimmage in baseball that's the biggest game of the year.
All right,
bigger than the Louisville football game. I love that.
Yeah, the Louisville football game is going to be pretty damn big.
Not as big as the baseball scrimmage. Just ask.
Just ask Kane's cat. Hey, if you're watching the show and you don't want to come on as a guest and you have a question, you can post it in the chat, and we will get to it. Corey Woods, Matt, I'm going to let you answer this one. Why are the DBs playing 10, 12 yards off the ball, allowing too many soft spots in the zone? Making accurate quarterbacks have to throw to tight windows. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, Corey Woods, I believe that's the name of the Cal offensive coordinator. So I really don't want to give away any secrets. I saw this. I think maybe he posted on our message board also. When you see that, so Lance Guidry's defense is very difficult if you don't have highly successful cornerbacks, right? Because he's leaving them one-on-one down the field many times with no safety help. A lot of times you'll see a safety actually coming down and playing nickel. You'll see a safety blitzing. You're not seeing two high safeties a heck of a lot. Lance Guidry, essentially two high safety look from Lance Guidry. You may as well call that his prevent defense because you never see you see it about as often as his prevent defense, right? So when you have a team that's starting to have some success down the field, or if it's a long yardage situation, right? And I understand some of this happened on maybe 3rd and 2s, 2nd and 1s, whatever it may be. I get it, but you're taking a huge gamble if you're Lance Guidry. He's gambling that his pass rush is going to get there before the receiver is able to run his route. And the receiver, unless he has a hot route where he's going to take 2 steps out and turn around and catch a 2-yard pass on 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3, like he has a route that he knows he's running, right? And they're not lining up there knowing that Miami's going to be 10 to 12 yards off the line of scrimmage every time. It happens sometimes, not every time. Okay, so Lance Guidry will gamble sometimes. Like, hey, if they happen to have a hot route that's a 5-yard completion on the 3rd and 3, go for it. But I'm not giving up the 80-yard touchdown on 3rd and 3 when I'm blitzing and stacking the box to try and stop the run, or 3rd and 2 or whatever. Like, that's just sort of the nature of the beast. You don't want to give up those touchdowns. And a lot of it also depends on the situation of the game. A lot of it depends on where you are on the field, right? Because if they're at their own 30-yard line, for instance, facing a 3rd and 3, and you're blitzing, right? You're stacking the box and you're bringing pressure, okay? In that situation, you don't want to give up a 65-yard touchdown. You're gambling that, hey, maybe I'll get a stop here by getting pressure, making them make a bad throw under duress, make a mistake. And if I don't, and if he actually completes the pass and gets the first down, well, they're only at their own 38-yard line, 39-yard line. We'll get another series in, so it's not like the end of the world. I mean, that's what I'm assuming goes through his head. We didn't ask him that, but that's just generally his defense and what he does, because he gambles, man. He gambles. When you gamble with a cornerback and a cornerback is not a good matchup against that receiver, he will get burned big time. And that would have happened this past game. and the game before, because Lane was really good this past game. And the game before, you saw Porter get lit up by that other little guy. So, I don't blame Lance Guidry for being a little worried about putting his corners one-on-one in press coverage up tight.
I think he's blitzing less this season too. I mean, I think he's scheming to his personnel. Look, cornerback was supposed to be the weak spot of the team going into the season. They don't have a lot of size at corner. And I think he's I think he's just scheming to his personnel, which is a credit to him. Except at the end of the game, like I talked about, man, I was stunned that he went prevent defense. That is just so not Lance Guidry. And then he dug in on it after it almost bit them in the butt. Like, that was a season-shaping play, man. Like, it went our way this time. Hallelujah. But that was a season-shaping situation at the end there. Miami loses that game, and like all the dreams that they have for this year with this team, might have, certainly would have been hanging in the balance, but they would have had no margin for error moving forward at all. All right, I know a guy that would go absolutely out of his mind if we ignored the Miami-Louisville football game in a couple weeks and covered the baseball scrimmage. So we will not do that, and that's our man T-Dog. You wouldn't like us to ignore the Miami-Louisville game, and
I already mixed up my drink, my friend.
That's what I'm talking about, Matt.
I'm going with the Moscow Mule, though. I just only a little bit of vodka because I got to deal with Gary.
I told my wife you were making Moscow Mule, and she was like, "My guy, my guy."
Love Moscow Mule. Moscow Mule is old-fashioned. Those are the only two drinks I make.
Oh, speaking of my wife, Matt. So I let her see the video of us from last week, and I told her you're the stone crab guy, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I love stone crabs, and we're coming down for the Florida State game. So she put on my honey to-do list on the fridge, you need to go stone crabbing with Matt when we get down.
Oh, sweet. Well, that's on your phone constantly, Gary? Will you push a button?
I don't know.
Wow.
So you got to take me, Matt. Well, I'm going to be in the doghouse, bro. You got to take me.
I mean, it's my friend's boat. I can look into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the season starts in a couple weeks.
Okay.
It's coming up.
Yeah, I'll be down there for the FSU game. I'm bringing the whole fam. I brought my son for the VT game, but we'll be back all down there for the FSU game.
I mean, here's what you do: just go to Publix, grab 10 stone crabs, and buy them, and just tell her that I gave them to you. All right, let's make it easy.
She's too smart for that, man. She went to Emory. She's too smart.
Have you done stone crabbing before? Do you think it's fun?
I don't care.
It's work. It's work.
I'm from
dangerous. It's very dangerous.
I like hard work. Hey, real talk. Didn't I tell y'all boys about Martinez? Did I not tell you? I'm literally 8 rows from the field. I'm going crazy during the game. The kid runs too upright. He doesn't hit the hole fast enough. He doesn't run behind his pads. I took some notes, bro. Now I will say he's great in pass protection. I will give him his props for that.
Yes, he is.
He's great in pass protection. But to me, it's like a wasted down. Like when we put him out there, you might as well say it's going to be 3rd and long because it's a wasted down when we run him. He's not effective. And maybe he's more effective in the second half once the defense is tired. But I think they should change the game plan and run Lyles, Allen in the first half and then your bruisers in the second half. What do y'all think about that?
It's funny you say that because this morning I found a good highlight video of Damian from last year that I sent to Gary. And lo and behold, I go on our message boards and it's on Gary's posted the video I sent him on the message board like he's discovered it. Look how different Damian Martinez looked last year he posts. Look at how explosive he was. Look at how fast he got through the hole. Like it was all his idea. You're 100% right. When you watch this film from last year, I don't know why. They say he lost weight, but he looks smaller and faster and quicker and more explosive. And I know that he did a lot of I formation stuff, but with no fullback, nothing like that. But he also did, some RPO type stuff. So, I mean, I can't, it's inexplicable to me why he would look slower. Somebody said maybe he took a big hit at Florida and has never been the same. Like, I don't know. I can't explain it, but you're not wrong. Like, he doesn't look like he did running the ball last year. And yeah, part of it's the offensive line's not really opening up big holes. But at the same time, Shannon Dawson clearly told us the other day that his running backs aren't running to the right holes, which I assume David Martinez is one of those running backs. So I don't know. You know, if he can figure it out and get it right, he'll be great. But he's running out of time, man. The halfway point of the season is almost here.
And why all of our runs in the A gap? Like, I looked at that BT game. There were sweeps. There were tosses. Why don't we do that? I don't understand. Everything for us is the A or B gap. There's nothing on the outside.
Correct. Because think about it this way. If you're doing an RPO, it's hard to run anywhere except the A and B gap.
True.
Unless you're really, really fast.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why that happens a lot.
T-Dog, what do you think of this, man? K Mills says, is there any chance that having so many backs is stopping one guy from finding a rhythm?
I think if you were to say that back in the day, then yes. But in today's football, most teams run multiple running backs. Even at high school level, like even at my son's little middle school level, like they run multiple running backs. So I don't think that's the case. I just think that I think they need to flip who they're running in the first half versus the second half, in my opinion. At least try that.
I watched Damian Martinez rip off 80-yard runs in training camp. I mean,
that shit was scripted.
He can get it done. No, he can get it done. He's not a burner. He probably runs 4.6. He's like the running back version of Restrepo, quite honestly. But this guy's a proven commodity. I mean, they need him to bust out a little bit. They're gonna need him at points during this season to be a tough inside runner in some of these games. And I gotta believe, like I said earlier, that it's a priority to get him going. And Shannon Dawson's been trying. He's been giving him 10, 12 carries a game the last couple of weeks, but you know, they may need to even go a few more than that and just give him more reps and let him get into a little bit of a rhythm or something like that. And, you know, but listen, you got Fletcher, you got Allen, you know, you got Lyle, who might be the best of them all. I mean, Christopher Johnson every time he gets an opportunity, does great stuff. So, like, I don't know how you keep everybody involved and happy. I really don't.
Before I go to my last topic, one last point on this. If Mario could do it over again, be honest, do you think he would have gotten Martinez knowing that you got Lyles? You could use, you can use Lyles, Allen, Fletcher, plus you can use, what's the tight end, the young freshman tight end, the big guy from Vegas?
Elijah Lofton.
You can use for short yardage. Do you think he would do it over again and save those NIL dollars for like another DN, another corner, another safety?
I think he does, because you got to remember, it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback now. We're only 5 games into the season, but Mark Fletcher was coming off the injured list into this season. And, you know, Jordan Lyle's a true freshman. He's not built to pound the rock. He'll hit the flashy plays, but he's not ready to pound, be a pound the rock type of running back yet, I don't think. Jay Allen's kind of like in the middle, but I think that they know, Mario certainly knows that if you're going to win anything, you're going to have points in the season where you need to be able to run the football and control it, whether it's late in the game, whether a team is taking, rushing the passer really well or taking your passing game away a little bit. You're going to have to be able to run the football, and that's why he went out and got Martinez, I believe.
All right, my last point, and I know we're jumping ahead here till next year, but do you think our premium for NL dollars should be on DNs, cornerbacks, and another safety like a ball hawk? Because you're going to lose Powell, Barron's going to be gone. It's going to be Ruben's last year. You don't want to, waste that last year for Ruben. So, what do you think are the premier positions that the NIL dollars, obviously quarterback, if we're not happy with Emory, should be used for?
Well, they're happy at Emory. We don't know who else is going to be available. I mean, they won't discriminate. If somebody great like a Cam Ward becomes available, they'll bring him in to compete with Emory. But your quarterbacks are always going to be the highest NIL earners. There's no doubt about it. I mean, and then I think the next up on the list would be pass rushers. The Tyler Barrons of the world and guys that can get after the quarterbacks. I got to believe those are the guys that are going to command the highest NIL. Running backs, receivers, linebackers, DBs, they'll all be middle of the road, NIL earners, but the guys that command the big dollars are the guys that change games, and that's the quarterbacks, and on defense, the pass rushers.
I think you need another safety back there with Davis, though. When you lose Powell, I think you need another.
We're losing Powell, yeah.
Yeah, ball hawking, smart, intelligent, get everybody lined up kind of safety, a big time safety.
100%. They will definitely. But those aren't the guys that are going to eat up your NIL budget.
Yeah.
They'll get NIL deals, obviously, but the quarterbacks are the ones that eat up the budget in a big time way.
For sure.
So it'll be interesting to see if they go for a portal quarterback next year to compete with Emory.
All right, guys. Well,
I don't know if Reese will stick around. It'll be interesting to see.
I mean, I hope they're not feeling the need to go to the portal for 10, 15 guys every year. It's just not sustainable. I think next year, a handful of guys, and that's it. Maybe a quarterback, a top receiver, maybe a defensive. They have so many young, talented defensive linemen. I don't know. You need to really. I mean, it's nice to say. Of course, it's always nice to say, "Hey, let's get the best defensive lineman in the country." Like, if you can do it, of course. But we're assuming there's going to be these massive amounts of top talented guys in the portal that want to come here. What you always have to remember is there going to be a quarterback that wants to come here knowing that Emory Williams is really good, right? He started a couple games last year. They think he's really good down here. So does whoever they get, is that guy, does he have to compete to start? Does Emory Williams leave if this guy comes in? How good is that guy? Like, I don't know that they take a quarterback because it's a very, if they're not getting another Cam Ward, I'm not sure that it's worth it. I think you can convince a top receiver to come in.
Is Will Howard a senior?
Who's that?
Will Howard at Ohio State. Is he a senior?
Oh, I believe he had 1 year left, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Because I was thinking if he's gone next year, is a certain receiver going to want to stay there?
There you go. Well, that's the whole point, right? So I think a receiver would be a great addition. And you already, JoJo Trader, Nikar, you lose obviously all your major guys this year, but you got some young guys. So you bring in one veteran. So maybe one receiver. I don't think they needed any running backs. If Arroyo goes pro, I think they need to take a tight end. Maybe because you'll have Riley Williams and Elijah Lofton, and that's it. I think you really need a 3 strong tight end room, so maybe a tight end. I think the offensive line has enough depth where they maybe one offensive lineman, maybe none. Knowing Mario, he'll take 3, but you don't need them. Defensive line, again, it's the same issue on the defensive line, right? Can you convince a defensive lineman to come in when you got Bain coming back and all these crazy good young guys, right? They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, 8 freshman defense linemen, all of whom are going to be in their second year, who are supposed to be amazing guys who will start stealing reps from guys and winning jobs next year. So I don't know that you get that many great defense linemen, maybe 1 defense lineman, so that's 3. I think they can get 1 or 2 linebackers. So there's your 4 or 5. And maybe a safety, so maybe 6, And as safeties and cornerbacks, honestly, that could be an issue. But I'm just not sure the talent that's out there and that if they'll really take them, because they didn't really take them this year. They tried to get a couple and they couldn't. So I don't know. All
right, guys.
All right, T-Dog, man. Good seeing you again.
Good seeing y'all, man. Peace.
Hopefully next week we'll do it again.
For sure.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on the show. The Matt Shodell fan club is out in force tonight. G Nice says Shodell for president.
You know why? Because he wants me to be assassinated, Gary. That's why he wants me to be president. Thanks a lot.
Georgie Lima says the same.
They all want me murdered. It's unbelievable. It's so rude, these people. What is wrong with people? It's just violence is not the answer, people.
K Mills calls you Matty Ice.
I don't even know what that means.
Craig says you're the legend.
That's a derogatory term where I grew up.
All right, we're going to go to Sebastian here. As soon as I see him again in his window, he just disappeared on us. He's got some really nice mood lighting going on tonight back there. There he is. There's a man. What's going on, Sebastian? Welcome back to the show, man.
Hey, man, glad to be back on the show, man.
I like that background lighting you got going tonight.
I appreciate it. I'm actually working on some stuff for work tomorrow. I was trying to get the lighting right. But, man, scary game last week. I almost kind of predicted that it was going to happen. Let's go ahead and establish that anytime Miami is more than a 13-point favorite, that they're really just setting us up for an upset. There is no way in the world we should have been playing a 2-2 Virginia Tech team, and they told us that the line was going to be 17.5 points. Why in the world would they do that? I mean, you think of the scrummiest team in the ACC, and I don't even still think that Miami is to the point where we're going to beat them by 3 touchdowns or 17 points. They just set us up. And I think we have a lot of high hopes for the team this year, but there's absolutely no way in the world that we should have been a 17-point favorite. What are your thoughts on that?
I'll agree.
I said the exact same thing before the game.
Yeah, Matt was saying that all last week, no doubt.
Ridiculous line.
and you know, game day is going to be out there in California, and to say that we're going to beat them by 11, 10, 12 points, I mean, they're just, I don't know if they're trying to boost ratings or something like that. Look, if we come out with a 3-point victory, I'll be satisfied with that. I mean, we're going all the way out west. I mean, don't do these to these kids. I mean, we haven't won nothing in 20 years. We're not on the level of like Georgia and Ohio State where we're thinking we're beating teams by 3 touchdowns or double digits. So, what can you guys tell me about Damari Brown? I mean, is that just so under wraps? Is there more issues there? We have issues in the secondary. I'm not trying to put you guys on the spot. I'm not trying to put y'all out of Mario's.
No.
But what's
I mean, I'll tell you that he's had injury problems for a long time. I mean, he hasn't been right physically really since high school, and they're trying to get him right. He started the year, and clearly some things have derailed that a little bit. He was up in the press box with us the other night. Yeah, he was having a pretty good time watching the end of the game, but I don't know that it's close. Mario kind of alluded to it this week. It sounds like it's going to be a little bit. They obviously would like to get him back out there, but I don't know what the exact injury is, and we're not supposed to really say that anyway. But it's definitely lower extremity, and it's bothering him clearly.
Is it more of these issues that is it more of an Elijah Royal situation? Then it's a kid that's not happy about his playing time and not.
Oh, it has nothing to do with that. No, it has nothing to do with being unhappy about playing time. No. Okay. This is a definite physical issue that he's fighting through, and we just don't have a read on how long it's going to take.
Okay. How much credit do you give the team, even though they didn't play well defensively? And I really thought that they really got tired. I think we need to really sub Marigoa. I mean, missing that tackle the way he did on that 55-yard run. I mean, we got him playing special teams. It's the 5th game of the season. I think, we got to be careful not to allow these guys to kind of wear down. But, we'll lose games like that is what I'm trying to say. And are we developing enough players where we can kind of spurn these guys and give them a rest and give them a blow? I mean, Elijah Austin getting injured. I mean, did we not have McConnell? What was it? Cole McConnell?
Cole McConnell. It looks like they're trying to redshirt him if they can. Like what do you think, Matt? I don't think I would take Kiko Minoa off the field. I thought that the heat was bothering those guys the other night. I know it sounds insane. Miami teams are supposed to have a big advantage with the heat, but it was really humid in the stadium on Friday night. And I just felt like that affected some individual performances. I'm looking at guys, Simeon Barrow, I thought really struggled with it. Tyler Barron, guys that have been playing well. And when do we ever see Kiko miss a tackle like that? I mean, I can't remember ever seeing that before, Matt.
Well, I mean, that's Sebastian's point. Maybe he was too tired. You ask the Miami coaches, they say that the running back was just like too good. That they knew going into the game you can't arm tackle him. I think a lot of it goes back to, and by the way, Lance Guidry said he was more concerned about missed tackles in the Florida game than he was about the missed tackles this past game for whatever reason. But personally, I think a lot of it goes back to the fact that these teams, at least at Miami, they don't tackle in practices in the fall. The depth chart is not deep enough to where they'll other than the 3 scrimmages, they're really going to take people down to the ground because they don't want the injuries that used to decimate the team every fall. Remember all those? There's a reason they're not happening anymore. But on the flip side of that, you're thudding, which isn't tackling guys to the ground. And it looked a lot like they were just thudding out there against Virginia Tech, just hitting them and letting them stand up and keep going. Like that happened 21 times, on 60 snaps or whatever it was. Yeah. So I think part of it is they're not getting the amount of physical practice reps heading into the season to really be an outstanding, consistent tackling team. But, at the same time, they do have the technique correct. They've done it before, right? Like Gary said, Francisco Mauigoa doesn't miss tackles. So why did it happen this last game? Yeah, when you get tired, when you get worn out, you tend to just try and sort of throw your body and you don't have the energy to really strongly do the technique and the wrap up you need to against strong running backs. That's why they say that a really big, powerful running back wears down a defense as the game goes along, because things like that will happen. So it's a conditioning problem. It's a lack of tackling to the ground in practices in the fall problem. But again, that's to offset having devastating injuries in the fall. So I have no problem with that. But that's sort of what you see. That's just sort of what comes with it. And 21's obviously way too many. But against against Cal, you're going to see double-digit missed tackles again this week, is my prediction. But other teams, as we move forward, other than Louisville, it's not going to show up as much. There's a reason why they don't miss a lot of tackles against Ball State and against these teams that just have guys that go down when you hit them. When you play guys that are really good players, they tend to withstand your hits and keep going. So that's also part of the problem. Like, let's not minimize that. It's not just a Miami problem. It's, hey, the guy caused them to miss the tackles, which is what Lance Guidry was pointing out, and is to a certain extent true.
I just thought they schemed us up real well. They ran to the outside. They wouldn't run up the middle. And I hope that was a point of emphasis this week, and we fixed that. I didn't see, what's his name, Jalen Alderman play much during the game.
No, he didn't play. He was hurt. He was hurt. But you saw he was hurt. But you saw like Elijah Alston, right? Literally point blank sack, and just it's like he was looking at a different guy and ran to the other guy. He ran to the invisible man. I've never seen anything like it. Like the quarterback's here and he runs here. Who does that?
Yeah.
So there's some weird mental stuff going on also.
It was so bad that it got to the point where, we talked about this earlier, Lance Guidry went prevent defense at the end of the game because the guys that were rushing the quarterback weren't getting them on the ground. So he figured, let me have the extra guy or two back in coverage.
Yeah. Hey, guys, I really thought the play of the game really turned on that first interception when we had the opportunity to go up 21-7.
Yeah.
Look, I think the true character of the team really showed the fact that they were able to will themselves and come back. But I think if we go up 21-7 at that point on Virginia Tech, I think we have a different ball game. I think when they made that interception, when they made that, because that's when the guy busted for the 55-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
If that's an explosive play. If we would have been up 21-7, I think we have a whole different ball game the rest of the game, because I think Virginia Tech is struggling to be down double digits, right? But the fact that they were able to stop us and score, and then we had a 14-14 ball game in the second quarter, the rails could have came off. And the fact that we were able to will ourselves and come back, that told me a lot. That told me that we really have a special player in Cam Ward, because you're pretty much never out of a game as long as you have him next quarterback. And if your defense is able to hold up, it'll probably keep you in the games. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, by the way, I mean, I know Miami fans don't want to think about it, but there was a phantom hold call that negated a Virginia Tech long touchdown also, right? Touchdown run. So, but I agree. But I agree. If Miami's up 21-7, they win. And if Virginia Tech's touchdown's not called back, they win. Like, it was a 50-50 game, no matter how you look at it. Both teams, I thought Virginia Tech played really well for who they are. I thought Miami played pretty poorly for who they are. So the fact that Miami still won shows you that Miami's a much, much better just team, talent-wise, than Virginia Tech, which we knew, but it's nice to see that validated.
Yeah, I didn't know Jed Alderman was injured. I mean, no one said anything, or
they're never going to tell you who's hurt, Sebastian.
Well,
get used to it.
I've accepted the fact I can't trust Mario on an injury report. Like, him saying that Bain is going to play is probably his way of saying I'm not lying to you guys now, right? That's what I think.
I think Bain is going to play, though. He was very.
That's what he said. He's saying that's the
is going to play as well too. So we'll get a chance to see that. Before you let me go, I want to tell you what my concerns are with Cal, and I want to hear your thoughts as well. This is a game that can really show us up. This is a game. This is not a give me game to me. Going out there to play a team out at Cal. I mean, this is a game that's going into the second half. I'm be real nervous about. I think this is the game that more than anything, we have to take the crowd out the game. We have to have a good, solid run game, and hopefully we can protect the football. That's going to give us the best chance to win. But I'm really concerned about this Cal game. going all the way that's out west. Because if we win, we're 6-0, we get a bye week. Maybe give us some of our players to kind of healed up, and we have the second half of the season with everything in front of us. Whereas if we lose this Cal game, it's going to put some pressure on us going into that bye week, and maybe it's going to shift the focus. What are you guys' thoughts on that? And just keep me on hold till next week. But I'm interested from Matt and from you, Gary, your thoughts on this Cal game.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, well, I mean, I think, where I thought that Virginia Tech, I thought Miami had a bad matchup in that game on both sides of the ball, and I expressed that before the game. I think in this particular game, I think Miami wins much easier because no team on Miami's schedule is going to stop Miami from scoring. We know this, okay? Miami will score 28-plus points against some of the best defenses in the country. I'm not sold Cal's one of them, but even if they are, you'll be hard-pressed to make me think Miami will score less than 28 points in this game. On the flip side, Cal can't score points. They're like a very average offense, and they're pretty one-dimensional. Last year, their quarterback, I think he threw...
Virginia Tech looked like.
No, well, Virginia Tech, Drones had a bad game the game before because he was partially hurt, but Drones is a really good multidimensional quarterback, and Lane's a really good receiver. Cal does not have those kinds of weapons. Their quarterback, I think he threw 10 interceptions and like 8 touchdowns the year before. And I think he's got 5 touchdowns and 2 interceptions this year. Like, they're not a high-powered offense. They cannot keep up with Miami's scoring. Like, unless you're convinced Miami's going to score under 21 points, you're not going to convince me that Miami's going to have any problems in this game. And I will not be convinced they're scoring under 21 points. I don't see Cal scoring more than 21, period.
I'm with Matt, Sebastian. I'm with Matt. I agree. I think that Miami will win the game. But I also think that they will do it partially running the football as well as throwing.
So if we win the game and we go into this bye week, how optimistic are you for the second half of the season, barring that we don't have any major injuries?
Very.
If we win this game and we go to 6-0, we have a bye week. I think who do we have next after that? I think it's is it Pitt or
is it Louisville, Matt? I'm trying to remember.
After the bye?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll take a quick look. We should know, right? We haven't even looked past the bye. It's 1 week at a time, Sebastian, just like the Hurricanes. Louisville at Louisville, and then at Louisville, and then the easiest game of the year against Florida State.
Okay.
we
still feel good about the season if we get to 6-0.
I don't feel good about the Louisville game, but I feel good about the season.
Yeah, I think the Louisville game is going to be the toughest game of the year, without question.
It always was going to be.
Well, great show, guys. I look forward to calling in next week and looking forward. I'm gonna hold you guys to it that I'm not gonna be sweating bullets on Saturday night, staying up late. But
I'm not as worried about this one as I was the last one. Yeah, I'm not as worried as the last one. That's for sure.
All right, guys.
All right, Sebastian. Thanks for coming on, man. All right, Matt, it's your witching hour. Before we let you go, parting thoughts as Miami gets ready to head to Cal.
Well, as usual, thanks for nothing. You made me sound like an idiot saying I wanted the old school no replay back just because I'm nostalgic. I hate anything new. Technology is not for me. I was like the last person in the world, I think, to actually get a cell phone. I still had a home number. Yeah, I think they don't even have home numbers anymore, but I tried to keep a home number for as long as possible. And as far as the Cal game, I literally just said I don't see Cal putting up a lot of points. I think Lance Guidry's defense, Lance Guidry's going to look like a genius come Sunday morning at 3 a.m. Is that when the game ends? 4 a.m. Sunday morning? I don't know. I was telling somebody I'm not going to the game. So I was thinking I'll go to bed at 9 p.m. like an old man should. I'll wake up at like 6 a.m. watch it on the TV and write a little synopsis of the game, and no one will even know. No one will know the difference. You're looking at no one's reading any of our stories at 5 a.m., Gary, at 4 a.m. when the game ends.
You're looking at 2 in, man. 2 in, crazy.
If we're lucky, these games are going 4 hours.
I know.
By the way, I still can't figure out. Every NFL game goes like 3 hours to the dot, 3 hours and 10 minutes to the dot. And every Miami game has been like 3.5, 3 hours 40, 4 hours even. And they're trying to speed them up. I can't put my finger on why it is, other than fake injuries and stuff like that. But it's crazy how long these games have taken for Miami the last 2 games.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for being thanks for coming on at night instead of the morning. And Go get some sleep, and we'll crank it out again tomorrow.
All
right, Matt. Good night. All right. Now for the remainder of the show, we're going to bring the voice of the fan, Bruce Warner. He's even fixed his label for me down at the bottom. Bruce, welcome back to CaneSport Live. It's debate night for the VP debate, so I think a lot of our normal guys are racing to their television sets right now. But let's talk a little bit first about your general thoughts coming off the Virginia Tech game.
Well, besides the 5 strokes and 7 heart attacks that I had Friday night, let me ask you this, because I heard 305 say something. Do they have to make a call in the end zone? Do they have to say touchdown or incomplete? They have to?
Yes.
Even if they don't know?
I think they have to make a call. And then it goes to replay. And that's why I thought the unquestioned call to make was incomplete. And then let replay say it was a completion. I mean, you saw the ball rolling around in there. I mean, Isaiah Horton came out with the football.
Right.
I mean, incomplete was the call to make, and the ref blew it. And that's why.
But if he had the ball and he had possession, his butt was in bounds or his feet were in bounds, I guess it would be a touchdown. But he was on the ground, and I know there was at the end of it when Horton had his hand on the ball, and I thought they were saying because Horton was out of bounds and he has his hand on the ball.
Well, that is ultimately what they said. Yes,
right.
That's what. And I don't know. I mean, we don't know. Was that just their excuse or whatever? Like, we don't know everything that went into it. But I never saw possession in my eyes, and I know
I still can't say what really happened because I couldn't really see it clearly enough. There was so many hands and one football, I couldn't tell. And the ball is dark. The uniforms of Tech, they had a lot of that maroon in there. But anyway,
well, Studio One here, Bruce. He says he saw it clearly, and while they were all on the ground, and he said he has proof that no one had possession. That's the way I saw it too.
Okay.
So.
Then that works for me. Look, at least they reversed it because I'm thinking of this is just not going to go our way. It's just not. But it did. So, all right, it's over. Now, everybody's been talking about Cal. Look, you were at the press conference after the game. I watched it. You could just tell that Mario was steamed. You didn't see the steam coming out of his ears, but he was steamed. And I'm sure that the coaches and those players, they got an earful on Saturday. My gut tells me that they are going to rebound from this. I can't answer for the injuries. I'm assuming that Alston's not playing, right? He's out. Bain's supposed to play. I don't think Rivers is going to play again. I think he's out again. I don't know exactly what's wrong with him, but it's an awful long injury for him. I think they're going to be dialed in. I think they're going to be focused. I think this game was a wake-up call for them or a blessing in disguise, however you want to look at it. I think they take care of business. I don't think this is going to happen again. Not this Saturday. They are going to be very focused. Yeah, they're on the West Coast. I get it.
Yeah,
but you know what? They're going a day earlier. They should be okay. And I saw them play Florida State. They're not that good. The defense has 9 seniors on it. That's probably why they're as good as they are. And the secondary has 4 seniors in there. So, as Matt was saying, yeah, they have some talent on the team, but they don't have the talent that Miami has. They don't have the offensive explosion. I don't see Cam Moore doing it again, making those dumb mistakes. But also the running game. So, Martinez is not a burner, and neither is Mark Fletcher. And they keep running inside the tackles. Yet this year, on several occasions, I've seen Fletcher turn the corner and do really well. They have to mix it up. They have to
mix it up better. Yes.
Right.
They're making it too easy for the defensive coordinators to defend their run game. I agree with you.
Right. And you see what happens when they bring in Chris Johnson. All of a sudden, it's like, uh-oh, this guy's in the game. Uh-oh. Or when, look at Lyle. Look at Jordan Lyle in the game a couple of weeks ago against South Florida. That play was designed to go off tackle. He jumped to the outside and he was gone. Those other guys can't do that. So there's going to have to be more playing time. I like the guy, but I don't really care whether Martinez is happy or not. I do believe he dances too much, and I do think he's having some problems. And then on the flip side, we hear Dawson talking about the offensive line not firing out. So darn well that Mario laced into those guys this week. And I expect them to be much, much better. Not only in the running game, but Ward was under a lot of pressure in that game. And when the backs aren't helping him, he's really in trouble. So they got to work on a lot of that stuff. Clean it up.
I think it all feeds into each other. Like they're teeing off on the pass rush because they don't care about the run, and that's why they need to establish the run. They got to get Martinez going. They got to get the offensive line going. They got to get. The problem that they have with Chris Johnson is there's only so many reps, and now you have a film that shows that if he's in the game, he's probably getting the ball. So
right,
he's
not in there to block, Gary. That's for darn sure.
Correct. So they've got some issues that they're working through on offense, no doubt about it. But at the same time, they got the top passing game, I think, in the country. So.
Well, that may be one of the reasons why the games are so long, as Matt was complaining, because they're throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game and not running it. The clock's not running.
And a lot of guys were going down because they were cramping up and stuff in the heat the other night. No doubt about it. All right, Bruce, you got the assignment with me. We're going to go through a lot of these comments that guys have been making throughout the show. K-Mills 904, he says, we don't have the players to play press man coverage. I don't know. I mean, if that's totally true, I mean, I think Frederic can do it. I think Porter can do it. I think Jadeus Richard is a big physical guy, that he can do it. I don't know if that's true. I think that they can do it at times. I just think Lance Guidry is being extra conscious of not giving up big plays this year. And they really haven't been giving up a lot of big plays at all. I mean, so that aspect of it is working. Were you like me?
I got 2 runs this year. The kid the other day, and then the kid again, the Florida kid had a big run. But you also, I think that what's concerning about those corners, I didn't see much pass rush the other day. I think the D line did not play well at all.
Not at all.
At all. And that's a big part of looking at those corners and saying, gee, they don't look too good. Well, these guys are getting an extra second or two to throw the ball. Yeah, they're going to find open receivers.
Yeah, I mean, were you like me? Were you surprised that they went prevent at the end of the game?
Yeah. Yeah, I was. I saw 3 guys back, and then all of a sudden I saw everybody dropped except for 3. So the kid, you knew he was going to get the ball off. So you were basically saying, I'm going to bet that the Hail Mary pass doesn't work. But if you would have put 4 or 5 guys after this kid, he would have gotten rid of the ball much faster, might not have been able to target a spot where to throw it. And they may have sacked him. Who knows? But, I understand what Guidry wants to do, but that was pretty frightening. And then he said he'll do it again. That's even more frightening. I don't think he should do it at all. I think he should go after this kid, whoever it is. We have anybody that wants to come on?
Not at the moment, no, but we still have a bunch of questions to get through. But let me take a moment here and talk about CaneSport.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, let me give you guys a really close-up look of the store first.
Welcome to CaneSport.
New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, CaneSport has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. CaneSport, the spot Miami fans shop.
Again, guys, if you want Canes merchandise, and Bruce will back me up on this. He goes to CaneSport all the time. CaneSport is your spot. They have a little bit of everything for everybody: t-shirts, jerseys, polos, hoodies, hats, flags, decals, magnets, anything you could want. And they have all sizes for men, women, kids, and babies. And if you have a dog, they'll even dress up your dog. So they're at 2655 South University Drive in Davie. That's about 15 minutes north of Hard Rock Stadium. So you can go there before home game and gear up. Or if you live out of town, you can go to caneswear.com any hour of the day. So check them out as soon as you get a chance at 2655 South University Drive in Davie or caneswear.com. You will not be sorry. All right, our man Adam.
That's true, Gary. But you know what? I go there, and there's so many things I want to get. It's not like I'm a millionaire. Well, I shouldn't say that. But there's so many things you could get. There's like, I want 10 of these shirts and 10 of these hats. I got basketball jerseys and shorts and all this stuff. And what I'm wearing now is from there.
Yeah.
In fact, my wife gets mad at me because all I wear is Cane stuff. I'm sorry. I don't wear it to the courthouse. That's about the only place I don't wear it.
I think it's the best cane shop in the business right now.
Oh yeah, it's
so
incredible.
make sure you guys check him out. All right, my man Adam has bounced into the lobby, so let's get him on. Adam, welcome back to CaneSport Live. How you doing tonight?
Good. A little nervous about Friday, but good overall. A couple things, and maybe this is me just dating myself, but I've seen some similarities, especially in the Virginia Tech game with the 0-2 team, meaning that there were a number of close games that year. You had wide left one, you had the Rod Ruff third missing Yogi Roth in the end zone. So have you seen comparisons with this team and teams of like the 0-1, the 0-2, and even further back? Because obviously you've been around Canes football.
Hey, how about the Boston College game, Adam, in 0-1 when they almost lost?
I mean, the deflection off of Rump to Walters to Reed.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking more close calls at home.
Every team. I mean, you're always going to have 3, 4, 5. I don't care how good you are. You're going to have several games over the course of the year where things aren't going to go perfect for you. The other team's going to rise up and have a great game plan and play great. Crazy stuff like penalties, pulling. I mean, think about it. Miami had 3 turnovers and a touchdown taken off the board the other night. Yeah. That's how an 18-point favorite is hanging on for dear life on the last play of the game. I mean, right there.
Right.
Do you see with all the, and here's a couple more questions. Do you see with now like all the added hype and game days now coming to Berkeley, the late kickoff for us, do you see any of that impacting this team like negatively? Because Cal's going to be gigged up for this game.
It's going to help them.
Game day has anything to do with it. I mean, it might because they're going to be there, but the game day starts 9 o'clock in the morning. Our time. That's 6 o'clock in the morning out there. I don't know what time they're going to start it out there.
But you watch, their students will show up. I mean, they will be jazzed up. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be a night game for them, a big moment on national TV. They will have plenty of juice on their sideline and in the building. It's going to be up to Miami to take it away, and that's why I think there's no better way to take that away than by pounding the ball in their face.
Yep.
I really hope
early and jumping on them early and getting them and think, we're in for a long, long night. We can't let them. The longer we let another team like this stay in the game, the more they get confidence. Like I think the guy that called before, 14-7. We're going in to make it 21-7, and it didn't happen. It was 14-14. If you don't think that infused Virginia Tech, the entire team got infused from that. Because they're right back in the game when they were one play away from getting blown out. So, yeah, we can't let them stay in games. These teams don't have the firepower we have. But if you turn it over and they have the ball 2 or 3 extra times a game, we could be in trouble. I agree with Gary. I don't think we're going to lose this game, though.
So you don't see any effect of because it's going to be 1 a.m. And what has Mario done to tell him, look, you're going to be playing at midnight. You're going to be playing at 1 a.m. with your body clock.
That's why they're getting here Thursday. That's one of the reasons why, Gary, they're leaving a day earlier.
Yeah. They're taking measures to deal with that. They've altered their schedules a little bit this week. Yeah. They're traveling a day early. They're going to practice later to adjust for the time. They're doing everything they can do in that regard. I'm sure they'll sleep in a little bit on Saturday morning, make sure everybody gets their rest. They're doing everything that you can possibly do. You're not going to find the perfect solution to that.
Right. And the adrenaline will be there and the excitement will be there. And I know they're going to be up for this game because, as Gary knows, after that game the other day, and everybody went home the next day at the school, it was ugly because everybody was involved in the failure. The coaches, the players, all of them. And they all took it personally. And they watched that game film, and there's a certain amount of pride that he's instilled. And as I've been saying all along, Gabriel will attest to this, he has that team in his hand. They're not, this is no country club anymore. They are all together. You could see how excited they are when someone makes a great play, and they are locked in. This is all about them. There's no individuals anymore. And with Ward, and I'm telling you now, Ward is not happy with what happened the other day. He is an extra hard worker. He's hard on himself, and you better believe that he's preparing for this game like last week just didn't happen. I know that, right, Gary?
Those turnovers took him off the top of the Heisman odds.
Yeah.
Other guys passed him up this week. Now he's got to try to come back.
And final thing, what happened with that Hail Mary? How could you call that complete? Was that just a guess? Because
I believe it was a guess. It had to be.
No, because, and then, I mean, obviously the correct call at the end, but then you confuse everyone because it was really hard to overturn. Had you just called it incomplete on the field, that would have been that. But I think them calling it complete added even more to the confusion. And you have all this to begin with.
The right call was to say incomplete from the beginning and let the booth look at it and overturn it the other way if there was proof.
And
the ref blew it.
And final thing on recruiting, do we have a real shot at like Ben Hanks? Because I heard he was at the game on Friday, and with everything that's going on in Florida, regardless of if they get Lane or not, do we have a real shot at flipping him? Because I also heard rumors that, and this might have been on Canes County, that Timothy Merritt and Jabari Antoine might choose to play college closer to home. Have you heard anything, like any rumbles?
Yeah,
like
I mean, all that's in play, but I do think they have a great shot with Hanks. I really do. I mean, I've always felt that way, and he's
Josh Moore, I think too, Gary. You think they have a shot with him?
Yeah, no doubt.
And any rumblings about Merritt decommitting for like Auburn or Alabama, or Antoine decommitting for LSU, or no? You haven't heard anything?
I mean, rumblings, yes, but nothing.
For who? For who, Adam?
Antoine decommitting for LSU and Merritt decommitting for Auburn or Alabama. Just, or are they as solid can get in October before?
There's no such thing as solid in October.
Okay, but there's no like being on flip watch, or I think that you call it.
There's always the possibility.
Always the possibility.
Always. With money now, of course there is. Especially when teams like Auburn are looking so bad and they're desperate.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for taking my call. Have a great rest of the show.
You too.
All right, Adam. We'll talk to you next week. JR Barr says, I'm Martinez's lawyer. Man, I'm not Martinez's lawyer. I just have a firm conviction they're going to need this kid at some point in this season. I think he's tough as nails. He's great in pass pro, which shouldn't be underestimated because teams are coming after Cam Ward. You better have backs that could pick up blitzers. And he's a proven college football running back. And no, he's not a burner. He's probably 4'6". So is Restrepo, by the way. And, I personally think that he will have an impact on this season before it's over.
Do you think it's a byproduct of the offensive line not firing out?
I personally do. I haven't seen the offensive line playing great.
Neither have I.
This year. I think it absolutely is. I don't know. That's why it probably seems like I'm coming across as his lawyer. I just really feel like they need him to bust out and be what they brought him here to be. They are certainly been giving him the chance to be. The O-line has got to perform better. Now, here's part of the problem. So D says A.J. Allen is the best back on the team.
He may be the overall back on the team because he could catch, he could block, and he could run. Maybe that's what he meant.
Yeah, but that's based on performances late in games when the other team's tired. Sometimes you have backups in the game. And I'm not saying A.J. Allen's not a very good back. I love A.J. Allen. I think you got 5 guys at that position that deserve to play, and you're not going to be able to play them all. You're not going to be able to give them all the reps that they think they deserve. So, you brought a 1,200-yard rusher in Martinez here through the portal to complement Mark Fletcher because you weren't 100% sure that A, Mark Fletcher would be healthy, and B, can you keep Mark Fletcher healthy throughout an entire season, which he hasn't been going back to high school. And you need a big physical back, and you can't leave yourself with just one on the team. A.J. Allen is not a big physical back. Chris Johnson is not.
He's a combo. Chris Johnson and I think really the most versatile is Jordan Lyle.
Jordan Lyle, he's probably going to be the best of all.
Told me before the season that this kid is going to be incredible.
It's going to be incredible, but he's a true freshman. You don't want to put the whole load.
He's another one that he's not really in there to block. When he's in the game, he's probably getting the ball.
Correct. Yeah, so it's way beyond that. Listen, they have 5 running backs. I've said you don't need a depth chart at running back. You got 5 guys that you can use. You're not going to be able to use them all every game. Not everyone's going to always be happy, but just be glad. It's a good problem to have because I think they can win with any of these guys.
Right.
But Martinez,
I do think if they're going to run up the gut all the time, that's a recipe for disaster, and that's why a lot of us, and even a lot of the guys making comments. They want to see Chris Johnson in there or Lyle because they can get to the outside and change the scheme of the offense. The running game doesn't have to go up the middle all the time. We've seen Allen go up the middle. He gets a yard or two. They got to do something else.
Corey Wood says, why can't the OL create holes to run through?
It's a damn good question.
Listen, you talk regularly with the greatest center of all time, Kelvin Harris. I mean, I'm sure he's giving you a few opinions on the O-line play. I don't have the answer for why they're not. Carpenter, I think, was a good pickup. I don't think he's as good as Matt Lee. The guys that surprised me a little bit is Cooper. I don't know that he's playing as good as he can play. They should be able to run the ball on the right side of the line.
Of course they should. Yeah,
like
between
crazy,
him
man,
and
with Manoa over there. I mean, I'd like to see Cooper pick it up a little bit. Matt McCoy had some injury issues early, but I think he's healthy now. I mean, he could do better. And I think if they can ever get Jalen Rivers back, as well as Markel Bell's doing as a backup being forced to start, Jalen Rivers takes that position to a whole nother level. So to me, Bruce, I just think the key is don't give up on it. Just stay with it and keep working on it.
But they have to figure out how to do something other than run up the middle. Why can't they toss sweep to Fletcher or Martinez? Why do they have to keep handing it off and giving it to them all the time? They got to change the way they're doing it. Yeah, the offensive line has to block better. I get it. But I think they would open up some gaping holes if they did some toss sweeps to Chris Johnson or Jordan Lyle, things like that. Look at what they did. Look what Tech did. Tootin was like 3 feet away from the quarterback. They just shuffled it to him, and he was around the corner almost every time. Almost every time. Now, why can't we do something like that with our speed backs? We have 2 speed backs, 1 multi-back, and 2 power backs. Mix it up.
Well, it's getting a little predictable now, though. Like when Chris Johnson comes in the game, he's getting the ball. So, I mean, that's
okay. They're not stopping him so far.
That's a problem that Shannon Dawson's going to have, though, because defense is going to start keying on that. So, I don't know how that's going to go, but these are all dilemmas. I also think Cam Ward is audibling out of running plays a lot. I get that impression. I think they're trying to be 50-50 balanced if they can. And I got to believe that there is a further commitment to that this week going on. Christopher Wright, our old friend CW, wants to know, is Malik Bryant going to get more playing time?
That's a 3-letter answer. YES, baby.
Yeah, he certainly has earned it. He's one of the some of the young guys on the team coming on. I think Popo Aguirre is another one that you're seeing get a little bit more playing time here as the season goes on. Jordan Lyle would certainly fit into that category. So they're not going to hide these young kids. I mean, they're developing them, and they want to get them in the game and let them show out a little bit.
So Bain replaces Alston. Who's the backup at right defensive end? Would it be Malik Bryant, you think?
If Alston's doesn't come back, I mean, if Alston's there, it's him. I mean, they can also use Mesidor outside. I saw Justin Scott getting more reps this past week.
But he's playing the tackle position.
Yeah, Moten. Yeah, but if they're playing tackle, then Mesidor can go outside.
Right.
So they're developing these young guys. I think that they're giving themselves a lot more flexibility as the year goes on. I mean, Pinellas Kane here makes a good point, though, as we continue talking about the run game. I haven't seen a toss sweep or pitch out to a running back in 10 years. Why can every other team execute it? We seem to be scared to run it. I don't know why they don't really use the toss sweep.
I don't know why either. They use the end around, things like that, but they don't do the toss sweep. I don't get it. And with the speed we have with those 2 guys or A.J. Allen, I think it would get those the 7 in the box spread out more, which is what you have to do. You just can't have 7 guys between our 2 tackles. That's absurd. That's probably why he's throwing the ball so often. He sees mismatches and he's going. There's a lot of one-on-one coverage with the receivers. And then with Arroyo playing the way he's playing, I mean, why would you run the ball 30, 40 times? It's a tough question, but you have to do it. They need to figure out how to change their running game because I don't like what they're doing so far.
Did you see Arroyo run down?
Yes.
That kid. I mean, was unbelievable. The speed that he showed going the length of the field like that. Like, wow.
And the catch he made on the sideline, what was bobbled, but he caught it. Listen, he just moved up 2 rounds in the draft. And with his injury history, he is going to the draft after this year. He has no business coming back.
There's no question about it. He will be a second-round pick for sure.
He's that
tight ends
good.
don't get drafted in the first round, but he's making himself a lot of money. He will be a second-round pick. This is an interesting comment. I guess it's KO Money. He says Cam Ward's not a dual threat quarterback. He's a mobile improviser. That's the first time I've ever seen that term used, mobile improviser. But I like it. I like it a lot. I
don't know how you differentiate that from a dual threat quarterback, but I think maybe he's saying that he's not a runner first. He's a passer first, but he can run. Look, I think maybe he ought to call a few more plays for himself instead of when he has to escape. But that's a hell of a name, mobile improviser. That's good.
Mobile. So Tyler Barron looked hurt. Yeah, he definitely was. I don't know exactly what it was. I mean, I don't know if it was heat related or he tweaked something early in the game, but he was not at his best last week and played by far his worst game. Eldridge has an interesting comment here. Kiko's that guy, a 5th-round linebacker at best. Okay. Eldridge is probably right. I mean, there are guys that are great college football players, and I think Kiko Manoa is a very good college football player that don't have the intangibles, the measurables to get drafted high in the NFL. And, like Martinez, I see, is a 5th or 6th rounder. Yep. Restrepo, if he doesn't run 4.5 when they time him at the end of the year, he's going to be a 5th rounder. As great of a college football player as he is.
But the teams need guys like that because he doesn't drop balls and he finds seams in the zone that teams need guys like. Listen, Brady made a living off of it, throwing to all those guys that he had, those tight end, those little wideouts, the slot guys.
Yeah. Interesting comment from Smoking and Chilling. He would not take a quarterback in the portal. Listen, they love Emory Williams. I mean, there is no wavering on that coaching staff about Emory Williams. But what if you could get a Cam Ward level player in the portal? I mean, how do you say no to that? You bring that guy in and you let him compete with Emory Williams. And if Emory's better, you play him and let that guy be mad. But it was a no-brainer this year. And Emory, as good as he's doing, he's not better than Cam Ward. No. So you can't question.
But wouldn't you? I've seen these questions, and I think that it makes sense that if that's what happened, maybe Emory leaves. And I don't know if they want to risk that. That's their dilemma with getting another quarterback from the portal. Unless the guy is so good, they could care less about what Emory Williams thinks. Let him go. But it just depends, But Emory Williams is a 2 or 3 year guy now. He's got time. If he shirts this year, he's got 3 years to go. So you got to be careful what you're doing. I mean, he's not a mobile guy, but what are you laughing at?
I'm laughing because T-Dog's upset with me that I wasn't drinking. I drink those Moscow Mules. I swear, T-Dog. Just Tuesday night's not a great drinking night for me, man. I try to keep that to one or 2 days a week, and it's not usually on a Tuesday night.
Well, he can get his own show. He can drink all night if he wants.
I don't understand these guys that can drink every night of the week, man. I don't.
I don't drink every night. I don't drink hardly at all.
A lot of guys are talking about the last play of the game. Gio Kane says you have to play prevent rush 3. I don't agree, man. I mean, Lance Guidry was talking about how he hates that situation. If they're throwing it in the end zone at the end of the game, that is not a good thing for a defensive coordinator. But we talked about this earlier, Bruce. He also said that if he had to do it all over again, he would do it the same way because they weren't getting to the quarterback the whole game, which they were not. So he felt like he was better off with an extra guy back there to knock the ball down.
All right, so if that's what he's going to do, then if I was him, I'd put Riley Williams and Arroyo out there along with Horton, and then you got taller guys that could have smacked that ball away. Those guys that were out there were basically all the same size. Maybe Horton at 6'2" might be a little taller, but I would have put in Riley Williams and Arroyo, and let's see what happens with that because those are 6'5", 6'6" guys. Do you agree with that one?
Yeah, I mean, Arroyo would have been.
You couldn't put Bell out there; he's too slow. But
yeah, the problem that they have is all their defensive backs are not big, so that's
right. So that's what I
why,
said. Use those 2 tight ends. They're used to seeing the ball in the air.
I would say Riley Williams maybe more so than even Arroyo. Yeah, Riley's got some vertical. I think you might see that adjustment because that did not go well.
No,
okay, that like the call went well. They got the break. They won the game, but the defense of it did not go well. That ball's not supposed to be down there like that. And Jason says that the Hail Mary play defense reminded him of what happened with the last play of Auburn, Alabama last year. Auburn rushed 3 and Alabama completed a pass for a TD. Yeah, I mean, I'm a believer in pressuring quarterbacks. I absolutely.
You know where that goes back to for me, Gary? When we lost to Ohio State in the title game, it was 4th and 15, and Randy decided not to send the house, and they completed a 15-yard plus an inch pass, first down, and they wound up scoring. I'm still screaming about that. Randy should have sent the house and given that slow quarterback less than a second to get rid of the ball. But no, he sat back there. He had time to fire a square out, catch, first down. We lost. You remember that, right?
Yes, sir. Why, son? He's got some inside intel probably from practice. He's saying that Chris Johnson Jr. is going to have a breakout game against Cal. Trust that. All right. We'll buy into that. I could see that. I could see them trying to get Chris Johnson a little more involved, get a little more speed.
That's what I
into the backfield.
Miami's all about speed, but the 2 backs that they have are not speed backs.
They're power backs.
They're power backs.
Yeah, and you don't know like here, Spoon World, he says Fletcher's RB1. I don't know why you got to name one RB1 and one or RB2, but
he's having a better year, I think. Even though he's not carrying the ball as much, but Fletcher looks good. I haven't seen him limping around. He looks very good, and I've seen him turn the corner a few times. And I haven't seen the Martinez turn the corner that often. He gets caught in the backfield a lot. I don't know why he dances when he gets the ball. Maybe he's just looking for a hole that's not there, and that's why he's in no choice. But I don't like it.
Merrill Jones says, "I don't know. I don't know what he says. I don't know about." Don't know about what? You got to be more.
What?
You got to be more specific so I can defend myself.
Or take the blame.
All right, I think that's. I think we've
hey,
just.
Chris Wright wants him. We can't get quarterbacks in the portal every year. We will never get a. Yeah, you need a quarterback.
Yeah, he's right, and they feel like got him. They got Emery. They got Luke Nickel coming in. Judd Anderson's doing well.
Yep.
Reese can stay another year if he wants. I mean, he's got he'll have the option to stay and compete. I
think he should leave if he wants to play. He's got to go someplace else.
I mean, I don't think he's going to beat out Emery. I really don't.
No, he won't.
So, and Luke Nickel will be a freshman. He's not going to beat out Emery.
No.
And Judd's not going to beat out Emery either right now. So,
but I just think if they go in the portal, I think they run the risk of Emery leaving, and I think that's
no doubt.
A risk.
There's no doubt. So that guy, if they go in the portal for a quarterback, it better be somebody that is
really good,
damn good. Yeah, exactly. All right, Bruce. Before we go here, any parting thoughts about this week's game?
Well, I like the fact that I think we learned a lesson. I don't like the fact that the game was the way it turned out, but in retrospect, I think that there's a lot of introspection that has to be done, and I know that Mario has done it, the coaches have done it, and the players have done it. And I don't think. Listen, I'm glad we won, but am I happy? Not really. I mean, that was bad. There was so many things that went wrong. And I hope they clean up half of it. Of course, again, I don't know the injuries, but whoever plays, I'm sure they're going to be dialed in, and I expect better defense this week. Gibson's going to call a different game. I think they have an immobile quarterback. They're going to go after this kid. I like Miami to win this game by 17 points. Maybe
Yeah, I'm with you.
5-17, something like that.
I think Miami's class will rise to the forefront, but I do think Cal will give them some problems with their defense and just the juice that's going to be in that building. But I agree with Bruce. It's a circle the wagons week for Miami. I think that it reached even the guys on the conditioning staff that, maybe didn't make sure that those bigs were hydrated to the point they needed to be for that heat the other night. There was a significant drop off in performance on a lot of those guys. and I don't know what else to blame it on. It was brutal out there, and Virginia Tech obviously had problems with it too, but it should have been a huge home field advantage, and I didn't think it was. And I think I know who the head coach would put that on. So like circle the wagons for everybody to just really tighten up and make sure that they're doing their jobs and getting things done at the right level that they need to. I see them going out there to California. I like that they're going out a day early. And I expect this to be a fresh, focused team for Saturday night.
And I like the fact that Ward he's his worst critic, and that's good. He doesn't accept mediocrity or whatever it was from the other night. I know that he is taking that seriously. He probably vows that won't happen again. I think Miami, if they come out and score early, 10-0, 13-3, 14, whatever, I don't think they're going to come back. I don't think Cal's got the firepower to do something like that. The worst that could happen is if we turn it over again, and the longer they stay in the game, the worse it is for us. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah. All right. We want to thank everybody for watching and participating tonight. Really appreciate it. Program note, tomorrow night, we got the Lamar Thomas Show at 8 o'clock. Same bat time, same bat channel. So make sure you join us for the Lamar Thomas Show. For Matt Shodell and Bruce Warner, I'm Gary. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys next time.